interesting options. Obviously, guys he is familiar with, but Keyshawn, which is a better fit for Davante Adams, the Jets or the Saints?
You know, very similar. But I guess because he played with both QBs, he has relationships on the offensive staff in both places because Keith Williams, who was his receiver coach in college and in high school, trains him in the offseason, is a receiver coach in New Orleans, but he also has Hackett, he has Rodgers, he has Lazard that he played with in Green Bay. I think in all, it's the New York Jets. Because Aaron Rodgers, to me, outweighs anything going on in New Orleans. It's just Aaron Rodgers. And you've been there with him, and you know what it's like to be without him. Although you went for 1,500 yards and 100 catches in 2022 with Carr as your quarterback, it's just something special chemistry that you have with a guy like an Aaron Rodgers. So I think the New York Jets, one, they really desperately needs him in the worst way. Love Garrett Wilson, like Mike Williams, but he becomes instantly their number one guy in the offensive system. And he can walk right in, plug right in, and go with no problem at all. I mean, it just works perfect, I think, if he goes to New York. Plus, they haven't really had nobody in New York. Never mind. Anyway.
You know, originally I said the Jets, Joy and Key, but the more and more I thought about it, it could be New Orleans, and I'll tell you why. Now, will he be more comfortable? Will he be more familiar with the people that he's around because he knows them? Yeah, absolutely. But if he wants a chance at a Super Bowl, I think the obvious fit is New Orleans. You know, because, like, the Jets' offense, I feel like, is a mess. Your quarterback in Aaron Rodgers is not getting along with his head coach. It seems like a disconnect. Wide receivers are complaining. It just seems like it's a little bit more dysfunction going on over there. And when you don't want to walk into a situation like that after you're coming from a dysfunctional situation, I think the New Orleans Saints, he'll fit right in. Derek Carr, he's familiar with him. You got Rashid Shaheed over there that you can play with, be a great option. The more and more I think about it, as far as just fit offensively and don't have to deal with no clutter, it's New Orleans.
Well, New Orleans got Chris Olave as well.
Olave, of course.
That's
Wilson.
the big enchilada as far as New Orleans passing game goes. But it's some about them handoffs from Aaron Rodgers 20 yards downfield. It's just some about him and Rodgers wanting to rekindle that relationship that they had in Green Bay. They've talked about it, or Aaron Rodgers mentioned it in the offseason. But Aaron Rodgers was the one.
A lot of questions. They are not shy about answering questions.
No, but Aaron Rodgers was the one that kind of put it out there, so to speak.
But it's like right now, what is the Jets' situation? Is it like a smooth transition over there? Like things are not going well over there. Do I want to walk into that? You know, I'm at the point where
what's not going well?
It just seems like there's a disconnect. They're just coming off a game, they scored 9 points. The cadence ain't right.
No, I'm not going to say that. No need to look at me like that. I'm not going to say the rain.
It's important to mention the weather because it was very wet.
Oh, they playing rain all the time. I mean, come on. That's Aaron Rodgers we're talking about.
I hear what you're saying because it's not a completely smooth ship so far in New York. The Saints and the Jets are kind of in similar situations. I think it's a little more stable in New Orleans right now, and obviously they've had bigger wins so far this season. But they're not far apart to me. So what is the difference? Aaron Rodgers, which is why I'm saying the Jets. Like if they're about the same right now, I'm looking at the upside of playing with Aaron Rodgers over Derek Carr, who Derek Carr is a quarterback that we know can play at an MVP level. Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time league MVP and a Super Bowl champion and one of the greatest throwers of the football we've ever seen. So what he is at this point in his career, I still don't know that we 100% know. But I do know that he and Davante have a great chemistry, a great relationship. He's worked with this offensive coordinator. I think as far as a plug-and-play situation goes, as well as need for volume that you're going to need to get to the number one target, the Jets do make more sense, I think, for Davante.
I mean, it just makes all the sense in the world. Davante has a personality. In New York just fits. He's got a personality. He's a guy who will embrace
but
the New York spotlight.
Don't go well.
Excuse me?
If things don't go well for the Jets, say they don't make the playoffs.
They're going to get fired, so it doesn't matter anyway. And if the Saints don't make the playoffs, Dennis Allen going to get fired too.
But what gives him the best chance to be more successful and possibly win a Super Bowl? The situation in New Orleans or the Jets?
I think they both
similar.
They're about very equal. You got Kansas City.
You got Kansas City, Baltimore.
But you got to deal with that.
I don't want to have to deal with.
Let's not even talk about the rest of the teams. You got Kansas City, who is the gorilla in the conference.
Right.
You got San Francisco, who's the gorilla in the conference.
They're not the gorilla though.
They've been
not so far. They have been, but like this year.
What's wrong with them? Other than a couple people got hurt. They coming back.
I mean, we don't know yet. We don't know.
But they still there's obstacles that are in both ways.
But I'd rather take this other obstacle.
But you think about Atlanta, you think about the Bucks in the division. You think about Minnesota, you think about a potential Green Bay. Detroit. Who am I missing? I got to be missing somebody.
I'm feeling like if you add...
You know, what do we look at? Is Washington for real?
Yeah.
Because Philly, whatever, they got to figure it out. Dallas is probably done.
Yeah. Those are all question marks.
They're very equal to me.
But there's question marks at AFC, too.
Yeah, they're very equal to me. And
what are the Bills?
The difference maker is the talent at the quarterback position, which is what he's dependent on. And, as Keyshawn always says, it's 11 people. Well, you know the 11th guy in Nathaniel Hackett very well. You have experience with that. You have experience with that system. You have familiarity. I think it may be I don't want to say even... It's not a slightly easy path either way. You have the back-to-back champs in Kansas City that you have to go through on the AFC side, who are going for a three-peat. A ton of young talent on the AFC side, and then the NFC is looking like the gauntlet right now. So I don't think that really makes a difference. It's more about familiarity to me.
And then think about this one before you move on, Joey. The quarterback in New Orleans got kicked out. The quarterback that was in Green Bay didn't get kicked out. He didn't. He decided to play games to force his way out. They didn't say it's time for you to leave. He was playing games with them 3-4 years. Oh, 1 minute I'm in, 1 minute out. Oh, I don't want to do this, I want to do it. So they got tired of that. They looked at him, at the Raiders, and was like, he can't play anymore for us. So why would I, as a player, want to go take a chance on that opposed to a dude that I know got 4 MVPs?
Clearly he does still feel like Derek Carr is capable of playing, and Derek Carr has had a decent season so far. I mean, we know that Derek Carr can still play football. I don't know that the Raiders can be the ones saying we kicked him out of here.
I don't know.
The Rams,
but they didn't like. But they didn't like what they saw, though.
Yeah, I hear you, but
that's all I'm saying.
I don't know that they're in this situation right now. If Derek Carr is in Vegas and playing at the level he's playing.
Hindsight, they should have kept him.
What do you make of his response to Davante's situation?
AP did exactly what he should have said. I mean, done. He just went out there and said what he said. Hey, it's really none of your business if I'm speaking to him on a regular basis. He's supposed to be rehabbing.
They got to ask those questions.
I know, I understand that, but he answered it the way I would have answered it, 100%. I feel like just knowing AP and looking at that, he was somewhat blindsided when this all came up. To the point where it's like, well, where did this come from all of a sudden out of nowhere, where Davante is seeking a trade where 3-4 weeks ago we was all good. And so when I start playing fake investigator, because, you know, I like to be ID network guy, I want to investigate it. And as I start looking at it, and I'm saying to myself, the two prominent teams that's popping up, who's connecting these dots? New Orleans, ex-quarterback, the Jets, ex-quarterback. Could it be some, you know...
some collusion?
Tampering, so to speak, going on here? Hey, man, come over here and play with us. You ain't got no quarterback. Could it be that prompted Davante to say, hey, man, I want to get out of here? Could it be that? I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
nobody told me. I'm just looking.
I think it's not a winning situation in Oakland. He doesn't like
Las
playing.
Vegas?
I mean,
it'll take you a few years.
It'll take me a few years to get used to that.
Same
in
here.
Las Vegas.
I still call a charge at San Diego.
He's not happy with the quarterback situation. He's played with Aaron Rodgers, and he's up there in age. I mean, you know, he wants to try to win a Super Bowl, you know, somewhere else. So, you know, at this point, the relationship is broken, you know, and there's no going back. Like they can still have conversations, but I think maybe the relationship is not broken, but they've moved on. I'm over here with the team. Davante obviously feels the way he feels. I'm gonna let his agent and our general manager, president, whoever's dealing with this situation, deal with that. I'm gonna focus over here because I got a lot of other things to worry about than somebody not being happy and somebody not wanting to be here.
I mean, I think he did the right thing because he shouldn't be making the situation worse, right? He can't add to the drama by giving us things that we don't necessarily need to know about. Now, I think all the reporters have to ask those questions.
Oh, I'm not blaming the reporters, though, Joy. I just say he's going to give it to him like that.
He should play it down.
Yeah.
He should be short. He should say everything that he said. Other players pay attention to when coaches stir up drama. He's a former player. He's aware of situations like this happening. I'm sure he's spoken to Davante at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, he's about to lose one of the best players in the league. The Raiders are not a better team without Davante Adams. So as a coach, he does need to be locked in on the guys that he has in the building because they essentially just got significantly worse as a team.
Maybe.
Probably. You need talent to win, and Davante Adams is one of the best receivers in the league.
The reason I say maybe is because it had nothing to do with Davante. Davante is one of the best, everybody should line up. Dallas Cowboys, everybody should just line up and go grab me.
Right.
But what I'm saying is when you say it got worse, I'm not just looking at this year. I'm looking at several years from now that they can get better because this asset is a huge asset and a lot can be gained from moving on from him. He gets what he's looking for, and guess what? By the time you 33 years old, 34 years old, we'll finally be hitting our stride. You won't be any good to us anymore. So the best thing for us to do is move on from you and let you get what you need. We'll get a lot in return to build the team. So it's good for both, as far as I can see. It's good for both.
Maybe. One day, we'll see. Maybe. Right now, today, they're not a better team without Davante Adams on the field.
Not at all.
And maybe not even for 2 or 3 years.
But where are they going to, but like, how good would that that we expect the Raiders to be this year?
The Raiders are going to compete for a wild card playoff spot. They are going to compete they're 2-2. We act like they're 0-4.
No, they're not 0-4.
They're going to compete for a wild card spot. I didn't say the division. I said a wild card spot, which is, at the back end of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to compete for one of those spots.
Right. Yeah, I think he's doing all the right things. AP is doing all the right things in this situation. I don't know how we got here. Now, there was an Instagram post liked, so at some point he was aware.
I don't even know how to like an Instagram post. All right, what do you do? Because do you swipe?
I don't know nothing about Instagram.
How to use social media.
I don't know nothing about Instagram.
It's very complicated.
I'm serious. I don't know how to.
I got somebody doing all that.
Well, you stay off of it. That's what you do for me.
Yep.
Why are you laughing, Julie?
I can't with you. I think AP. I think there was a bit of a. This is my detective work now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there was clearly a communication breakdown. I think there's clearly frustration because Davante wants to be playing for a contender. This was not the team that he signed up to join. He just signed up to play with a quarterback that he was familiar with in Derek Carr, and he's not there. He made the best of it. He endorsed AP for this job, and now things have changed, and everyone is looking out for their own best interest, which in business, sometimes you have to do.
I wish they would have just went and got Jaden Daniels and gave up the farm. I really do. And they wanted to do it. Well, I know Antonio Pierce wanted to do it. I don't know about the rest of the organization. But they was drafted, I think, in the middle of the draft, and they couldn't get up that high. They had to give everything away. I personally probably would have gave everything away.
I mean, sometimes you gotta sell the farm.
It sounds good in hindsight,
When you ain't got no quarterback, Paul, it's like, I don't even know who your point guard was. Who you had, like D. Brown or something before Rondo?
D. Brown, I'm not that old.
I don't know. Who did you have? Who was your
point guard?
See, you don't even know.
I don't
That's what I'm saying. So think about not having...
Kenny Anderson.
Oh, that was okay, but he wanted to shoot it, though. He wanted to score. He wanted to penetrate and then dish with 2 seconds left on the clock. But at the end, it's like not having a point guard when you don't have a quarterback. We depend so much on the QB, man.
Right.
If you see my list?
18?
Yeah.
If you play with that many and do all these... It's just... And he had the world in Green Bay, but he didn't know what Aaron Rodgers. It was an Aaron Rodgers issue. Is Aaron in or is he out?
So my thing is, where's the communication? If this is such a good move for him to go to the Jets, when he was in Green Bay, why wasn't there no communication between those two?
No, it was. It was major communication, but because Aaron Rodgers is the type of individual that communicates a way that you don't feel comfortable with because he's not really telling you anything. He's not telling you whether he's coming, going, what he's doing. So you got to make your own decision.
So now, that's why I don't trust the situation on him going to the Jets. He can go to the Jets this year. Aaron Rodgers can just retire or just be like, I don't like this situation. Now, it's like, what does he do now?
He ain't.
Does he regret going to the Jets when he said he could go to New Orleans? I think it's more stability in New Orleans.
But it's the same thing in New Orleans. It's basically a mirror image of two head coaches that seats are flaming hot. Dennis Allen had to make...
No, Robert Sala's seat is way hotter.
No, not at all. Not at all. If Dennis Allen doesn't go to the playoffs this year, he's going to be working with us. I'm just telling you. He's going to be working with us, Paul. In the media. Right. I ain't talking about necessarily on speed, but in the media.
I know what you're saying.
Don't worry, we good. But I'm just saying, though, so when you look at it, same thing with Carr. Carr is not a guy that a new coach comes in and says, we give him an extension for the next 10 years. It's not like that.
Yeah. They're both really kind of temporary one-year situations.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think the Jets make more sense. But overall, this just feels like a communication breakdown with AP, with the Raiders, with Davante. Things change and they happen quickly, and now they're dealing with the situation as well as they can. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.